Survivor Specialist Phil and Will are back with the episode 2 predictions and power rankings, our first real power rankings that'll actually count towards the score for the season. We got a little bit of news to cover regarding that legacy advantage. We got some stuff. We got some comments to get into. This will mainly be power rankings and predictions. If you got anything you want to say, throw it on here. We'll read it out. What do you think, Will? Say something.
No, I'm excited because I think we forgot to do the eliminator last week too. And I don't remember.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember if we were supposed to do that before the season or after the first episode. Either way, we'll start it this week. Eliminator game is fun also. It's what Phil and I will do. We'll pick one person we think is safe each week, and if they get voted out, we're out. So I lost last week in week 2 with Jenny out of nowhere getting booted. She was a crazy lady in that second episode. Hopefully that doesn't happen here on my first pick, but we'll do that too. Eliminator, power rankings, predictions, comments, some news, maybe some updates to the prop bet and the boot list. I think we have that too. So there's actually a lot.
Scored everything.
Yes. Thank you to Phil. I was out this weekend. I was off the grid, off the radar. Fantasy football was a big struggle. Didn't get everybody who I wanted in, but hey, back now. My voice is a little bit gone, but I'm here. We got a lot to cover.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this. I guess we'll start off. Actually, I think we should start off with the legacy advantage, just real quick. Are you cool with that?
Yeah. No. You sent me the article. Phil was right. I was wrong. I love admitting when I'm wrong because it happens so rarely, and then I admit I'm wrong, and it makes me look like I'm credible, which I think I am. But I was wrong. So it is in secret, this is a little bit crazy. This has not happened before on Survivor, where you get to like play the game outside of the cameras. Like this is not a normal thing.
I'm really excited about this. I'm glad they're doing it this way because otherwise it would turn into whoever gets that advantage is just constantly be voting off because you're just upping your chances of getting it at Final Four. So that person would just keep being voted off. I like that it's done in secret. So somebody might not even know it exists. They're going to wake up the next morning with it in their bag and be like, what the hell is this? And I love it. I think this is so much better. The drama is going to be there no matter what. Like there's going to be drama because eventually somebody's going to be like, hey, look, I have this. People can't keep their mouths shut on this show. So I like that. Jessica might never even have to get rid of it, but I do like that they're doing it in secret.
I like that for this particular advantage that they do it in secret. However, this does set a bit of a precedent. Like they could run away. This is like you have to understand why I was so kind of. I mean, I'm not shocked that this is the way they're doing it, but there was a lot of drama they could have by people doing it in person after they've been voted out. Like that could be good TV. That's how they've done everything in the past. Doing this kind of backdoor gameplay just seems a little bit odd. And again, I am for it for this particular situation, but I don't want to get to a point where there's all this behind the scenes stuff going on and people aren't aware of it and there's just advantages flying. And I mean, we already had some of this kind of happen. I mean, the Outcast twist, no one knew that was happening. And then they come back. I mean, I don't know. There's been so many failed twists that have really screwed a lot of good players over. And I don't want to see this I don't want them to build upon this. As it is right now, I'm cool with it. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the only other thing I wanted to bring up is that when they actually got pulled from the game, they supposedly went into like a prison, essentially. It was like a concrete room with like nothing, and they weren't allowed to talk to each other because it was off camera. So the producers wouldn't let them talk to each other. The tribes were separated, and like that sounded awful. I think I'd rather be in the Cyclone. Seriously.
I don't know. It sounds like that's something maybe they should consider using for Ponderosa, to not have the jury votes all be unanimous at the end of the season. Just you get voted off and you're just sitting in this prison solitary confinement for how many days. If you don't want to do that, don't sign up, Then your jury vote will be the integrity will be there. No, I know. That's an absurd idea. I don't actually believe that. That would be absolute torture, especially after coming off playing Survivor. So glad we got the news update. Maybe that'll be a new part of the Sunday/Monday show. A lot of stuff comes out on Twitter and on the internet and stuff about revealing what actually went down, what happened. Mm-hmm. Some rule clarifications, which is good too. So good. Any other news updates we need to cover?
I don't think we have any other news updates, but you got to give the shout out first of all to Jessica Lewis once again for trying to help us hit our goal of 1,000. So if she is watching, thank you, Jessica. That's cool. She retweeted us again. So we got to give the shout out on that.
I'd say that is a news update right there. That's news to me.
Yeah.
It's new. It counts as news in my book that a Survivor is actively retweeting us and promoting us, and we really do appreciate it. Like that's so awesome. Jessica and Adam, I mean, they're now competing. I think who we like more. It's going to be.
I haven't heard from Adam in a week. I feel like he pushed me to the outside. I don't know what I did to him. I don't know if I hurt his feelings.
Wow.
I know it's been a whole week. I know.
Well, it's a good thing we have Jessica, right?
Yeah, I know. Hey, okay. All right, let's go into the power rankings. I guess we could just kind of throw out our eliminators when we get to them in our power rankings. I'm going to start, and to try to win back some favor, I'm going to say number 1, Adam Klein. And my reason for Adam Klein is I don't think anybody played more of a middle-of-the-road game than Adam did in this first episode. He's in absolutely no danger. He's not in the stupid 4 is greater than 6. He's also – and, like, if he's in the 6, he's, like, in the middle of the 6. Like, or, like, he's really not even – doesn't seem like he's that much of a part of it. I think Adam pretty much played the first episode the way any, like, big Survivor fan who wants to win the game would play it, where you're very quiet and kind of go with the flow and leave your options open. And you make like him being like, man, we really need to build this shelter. They never built that shelter, but he wasn't going to say to them, yo, we need to build the shelter. It was like, I'll talk to the camera and I'll go hang out in the water with them. It's a stupid idea, but you keep your mouth shut. And I think Adam's in a great position going into the early part of this game.
I completely agree. Adam's doing very well. I don't have him number 1 just because, yeah, I mean, he looked great. And I don't think he's going home, but I'm going to put a Gen Xer at number 1 just because we did have some insight into how they voted and like where their loyalties actually lie. And that really is never shown until you go to tribal. We see it over and over. So I'm going to go with Chris here. And I know he's like the big kind of alpha leader on this tribe, and that can be somewhat threatening. But this early in the game, you're not going to get rid of Chris. He's unifying to the tribe both around camp and in challenges. He's good at challenges. He's in the majority alliance. He pretty much, I think, had a lot of influence on Rachel eventually going home. So I got Chris at number 1. I think he's just in a really good spot. Not only is he likable, but he is, strong physically, socially, just across the board. He knows what he's doing.
No, that's a good one. I have Chris a little bit further down, but I mean, I totally get it. I didn't want to put a Gen Xer right at the top. The only reason I didn't put Chris at number 1 is because we know it's a big white dude who goes down. We're assuming it's Paul, but just in case it is Brett or Chris, I didn't want to have them at number 1 and then have them get medevac. I honestly don't think the person's getting medevac. I don't think they're getting medevac.
Right. My thinking is if they did end up getting medevac, they wouldn't have included the line, he might have had a heart attack. Mm-hmm. I think he might have had a heart attack is the doctor saying, well, he might have. Let me run a test. He runs the test. There is no heart attack. A great soundbite for a promo, great soundbite during the NFL. Just everyone's, whoa, heart attack on Survivor. Let's tune in and see what happens. If he gets medevac, they probably say someone goes down or medics or something like that. We don't hear the heart attack thing.
No, exactly. And it would just be too revealing, and I don't think they would do that. I think you're 100% right with he may have had a heart attack, or it could have even just been like he may have had a heart attack had we not gotten here. Like it could be something along those lines. You just don't know. From the description of the episode, I think they actually say heat exhaustion gets to somebody. Heat exhaustion and heart attack are not the same thing. So
how do you know?
Because
are you a doctor?
I know what words mean.
There you go.
There you go.
Those can be tough. And then on top of this all, I don't think it is Chris. I think it's Paul. I'm honestly acting under the assumption for these power rankings that it is Paul. I could be wrong, but it's kind of where my head's at.
Cool. I'll do my number 2. I'll do 2 and 3. And
Wait,
then you can do like 2 and 3.
Okay.
You want to do 2? You can. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
I mean, I got.
Go. Just go.
Okay, I got Zeke at 2, Mari at 3. Those are my big guns. They actually tied in the MVP voting, so me and Will both got the 3 points for MVP. It was 6-6. There might have been more votes in there.
We each get 1.5 points.
I'm just going to give it 3 because I don't feel like doing halves, and it really doesn't make a difference because we both got it.
It does not. You're right. It does not.
And I don't feel like doing 1.5 because then that makes the scoring difficult going on. Anyway, I think Zeke and Mari, both in the big alliance, they're the leaders of it. One's the vocal leader. One's kind of the behind-the-scenes leader. But neither of them is going down this week, I don't think. They both seem like they're competent. I still think Gen X is going to lose again. I think Gen X is going to lose again, and I think Gen X is going to lose again. Like I think Gen X is just it's going to be a lot like Nicaragua, where the old tribe just can't get it together. And I know they won the second one, and Shannon went home, but I'm still feeling here that Gen X is going to go on a little bit of a slide. They might turn it around eventually because their strong 6 or strong 7 is probably stronger than the 6 or 7 on Millennials, but they have a little bit of dead weight that's just going to drag them down in the challenges. So I got Zeke 2, Mari 3. So I think those top Millennials are set.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with a Millennial here at number 2. Neither of those two. I think I can't go Zeke that high just because if I am a Millennial and we somehow lose, and I don't know, Zeke's someone that you don't want staying in the game all that long, and I know it's the second vote, but that does worry me a little bit. I'm moving with Will actually here for number 2. I don't see really why you would want to get Will out at this point. He's physically strong enough for their challenges. Seems like he's getting along for everybody. He's in that non-4 part. He's not one of the cool kids. But whenever you saw footage of Will, he seemed like he was stoked to be there, getting along with everybody. Doesn't seem like he's causing any problems. And also, if I'm on that tribe and there's an 18-year-old, man, like if I could convince someone to like vote with me for 39 days, who am I going to first with that proposition? It's probably the 18-year-old. It's probably someone that doesn't have the most experience, that is relying on someone. And I'm only 24 years old. It's not like I have some, tons of experience in my life. But if I'm Mari, if I'm someone like Zeke, maybe who's older, like, hey, let me take this kid under my wing. And I think that's really a valuable thing to have in this game. Someone who's ready to learn and kind of embrace themselves being young. I think Will is actually going to do that.
No, that's smart. And it could almost be like what happened with Joe last season, where it's the opposite, where Joe's 72 and Aubrey kind of took him in, dragged him along, and Joe wasn't making too many game moves because he was so old and he kind of needed somebody to help him through the game. That could be the same thing with Will here, who's only 18. And I think it's smart.
I don't see Will falling into like the.
Well, he's not going to be as ridiculous as Joe.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do see Will kind of wanting to gravitate towards people that are just like, kind of like him, but open. I don't think he goes with the cool kids. Is essentially what I'm saying. So I like his spot.
Oh, and by the way, while I was talking about Zeke, I meant to mention this. I scored the prop bet games, and bad news to everybody who had Zeke with most confessionals in the premiere. He did not. It was David and David alone. Zeke actually had one less than him. So there were so many people who had Zeke with the most confessionals in the premiere with 3 points on it. You don't get anything for that. There's a lot of people who had David as well. They do get the points for that. So I just wanted to say that now because I know in the last podcast we had said that they tied.
Just so everyone knows and we don't get an uproar, where do you go to get your official
I go to the worst place on the internet. I go to Survivor Sucks. It's the worst place on the internet. It's just trolls nonstop. If any of our listeners are from Sucks, I apologize, but you're all trolls. It's great read, but it's all trolling. But what they do is the guy actually breaks down the transcript of the episode. And they do that, the confessionals are based on that, and he breaks it down like beat by beat. It's ridiculous, actually, that somebody does that. And he does it that way, and that's what you base it on.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I trust Sucks for that kind of thing. I think they're probably the most diehard Survivor fans.
They are.
I remember we shared our podcast there, when we were just starting, and someone wrote back, no one wants to listen to your stupid podcast. Get out of here, or something like that.
I said, this is exactly what happened, and I love this story because it makes us look so cool. This was when we had first started out. It was going to be our first real season, and I put it on there, and I said, every 25 buffs, we're going to give away, or every 25 entries, we're going to give away a buff. She goes, you're lucky if you even get one, you stupid, effing podcast, because it's trolls. And we ended up getting 100, and I pretty much told her I didn't tell her anything, but that was our way of telling her to, go die in a fire. It was great. It was fantastic. We got I think we got 100 exactly, and I think we only gave away 2, but I don't even remember. We cheaped out somehow. But yeah,
I think it was 1 for every 50 entries, and then we got 100.
Okay, and we actually hit the 100, which was great because they were like, "You're not even going to hit 10." Yeah, well, look at us, huh? We're on the quest for 1,000, and we're still chilling with our buff game and our prop bet game. So, yeah, Sucks. How's it feel?
I love it over there, though. You really do.
Oh, it is great.
And we rely on them for information. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Exactly.
Okay. We will get to the full scoring of the prop bet game later. I have not gotten the word from Phil yet, so I thank Phil for scoring that. I did that last time, and it was very brutal. Okay, number 3. I do have Mari at number 3. I think she's in a really good spot. It's too early to start taking out someone like Mari, and she's got Hannah. It seems like she can really pull in anyone she wants other than the cool kids. It seems like anyone who's anti-cool kids, I really like their chance on the Millennials tribe. Not only because I think they're going to win, but even if they go to tribal, how is it not one of those 4 people? Like, that's the question we have to ask ourselves. Is there a scenario where, like, Taylor, Jay, Figgy, or Michelle don't go home if the Millennials lose?
I don't see it.
I don't either. And inevitably, that could happen, but it doesn't seem likely to me.
Yeah, I agree. Do you want to do one more just so that then like I can do 2 and then you can do 2 and like we can kind of flip flop instead of like me always going first? You know.
All right. Okay. So I'll go with Brett here at number 4. I think Brett he's just like a tad below Chris, because maybe I could see Brett doing something kind of brash and pissing someone off just out of the blue and just kind of, Gen X loses. He's causing trouble at camp. Let's get rid of him. That's very unlikely, though. That's the only reason I have him below Chris. I think those guys are working together well. They have the majority. And you're not going to vote either one of them out because they're a challenge liability. You're going to want to keep them in the game. So,
yeah.
It's episode 2 here. Like, it's episode 2 here. So if I'm loading my rankings with, like, strong men at the top, there's a reason for that. And it's like, I really don't think they're going to go home.
Yeah, and one thing I have to say about Brett, and I guess this falls into the news category, but this is more of me just being impressed with Survivor for not being obnoxious about something for once. I just found out this week there was a secret scene where Brett tells you that he's gay. And what amazed me about this was that normally if there's a gay person on Survivor, they make the biggest deal out of it ever. Like ever. Like they have to let you know, like like Jeff will say in his cast assessment, here's a gay whatever, here's the blah, blah, blah. Todd was the gay flight attendant from Utah. And like, it's always that. And like nothing about Brett. And Brett doesn't bring it up once. And Brett, I was seriously shocked with how Survivor actually handled this, because like normally they always make a big deal because it's something that's not in the majority. And that's what they make a big deal out of. And I just thought it was fantastic that they didn't. I was like floored that Brett was gay. Like I was like shocked.
Yeah, I mean, you told me that. I was like, wow. I'm more surprised that they didn't make it a big deal than he's actually gay. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's the most surprising part about it. And if we've come to a point in our society where literally TV shows and media aren't overplaying differences that we really shouldn't even be caring about anyway, that those differences really shouldn't define us, then I'm stoked on that. Like, I want to see Brett play for who he is. It doesn't really matter, who he likes to hang out with at nighttime,
Yeah.
I want to see how he plays the game. And I love a Survivor. It's not like beefing it up. So
yeah, because every other time they have, and this I think is like seriously the first time ever they didn't. Anyway, I got 4 and 5. I got Jessica at 4. I got Chris at 5. I got Jessica ahead of Chris. I don't know why. Maybe just because she retweeted us. I mean, that might be the only reason. But I think Jessica, Chris, Brett, like that whole group, they're pretty safe this week. And Jessica with her red eyes, the bacterial infection, she didn't complain about it once. She's not going to get medevaced for it. It's not going to be an issue. She's going to be fine. It's a bacterial infection. It's not like it's something that's going to kill her. She's probably on antibiotics out there as we speak. So I think Jessica's fine. She's got the legacy advantage. And then Chris, I think, is the leader. I think he's the silent leader of that group. As crazy as it is to say he's the silent leader, I think he's the silent leader of that group. And I think the two of them out of the Gen X, probably they might actually be like the only 2 Gen Xers where like I sat there after the first episode and was like, wow, like they could really pull this win off. Like, and I'm not saying that nobody else can win. It was just like with the 2 of them, I was like surprised how like I got like that feel of like, oh, okay, like I could see them winning at the end. The Millennials, there were a bunch of people. The rest of the Gen Xers, I was kind of like up in the air on.
Right. I totally see that. Definitely a fan of both those people. Obviously, I have Chris number 1, so I'm with you there. What number am I at? Because when 5. I do this, I'm at 5. Okay, I have Adam at 5. Again, I don't think he's going. I don't think any of the Millennials are going. I don't know what else I really want to say about Adam. I think he had a really strong first episode. Is like not this huge character, but so, like you said, like for a Survivor fan to go out, like be under the radar, but be kind of liked and friendly, and that's really all you need to do for the first episode. So I got Adam at 5. At 6, I'm going to go with Hannah. I don't think Hannah is going home. Like I I really don't. I think her edit was so strong early. I know you could say, well, maybe the Millennials, they will lose a challenge and she might screw up. I really, really don't think that's the case. Her edit was so positive as she came in as an outsider, started making friends with Michelle, then made friends with Mari, like both sides of the alliance. I said this last week, like if that's power or like cool kids, they're not in the power. Those 4 cool kids somehow end up with majority. They're going to need Hannah on her side if that happens. So either way, Hannah's good.
Yeah, no, I have Hannah a little bit lower, but I thought I would have Hannah like all the way at the back end of my power rankings, before the season started for most of the time. And I don't. Like Hannah played very smart that first episode. She's one of the Millennials that I was like, wow, she could win this thing. There's a lot of Millennials that I could see winning it. One that I can't really see winning it, but I still have here, I got Will Wall at 6. You pretty much said everything you got to say about Will Wall. Like he's just not threatening right now. He's not going to put his foot in his mouth right away. And people are going to try to kind of use him a little bit. You know what I mean? Like they really are. And actually at number 7, and this one might surprise you a little bit, but there is no way in hell the Gen Xers get rid of him if they lose their second challenge in a row. I have Ken at 7 because he's just too strong of a guy. And actually, I rewatched not the whole episode, but I rewatched like the first up until they actually got pulled, like evacuated. Ken had a great episode. He really did have like a really good episode, just not a lot of like strategizing and being in control of the game, but he got a really positive, like when he shut Paul down, I think at the time I thought of it more as like maybe this is going to be a feud. It was really just Ken. They were showing Ken as being self-aware and being aware of his surroundings, and I actually like where Ken's at. I have him at 7.
Yeah, the Paul thing I thought was good, but later when he started talking about how he's, the master shelter builder and all this stuff, and then they show a tree falling on top of it and being destroyed. I mean,
that's not his fault.
It's not his fault, but from a storytelling perspective, if he is the shelter king, it should be able to withstand the weather. And I'm not saying it's his fault at all. I'm saying they have so much footage, they edit this stuff in such a particular way that they do a lot of these visual storytelling elements, and the shelter crashing when someone claims to be a master. I wouldn't say that's like a positive. Like I think Ken's edit was very, very neutral, and they could have made him even more positive if they wanted to.
No, I think normally I would agree with you. Here I can't agree with you because they got a shot of a tree falling on the shelter to show just how dangerous it was and that they had to pull these people off the island. There's no way they don't show that. And yeah, Ken built the shelter, but he built a pretty good shelter. They wanted to show just how bad this cyclone was, that I think it took down a good shelter. I think that's more of what their point was. I don't think they were doing this to make Ken look bad. I think they were doing this to make themselves look good for evacuating the people, to show just how dangerous it was.
I buy it. I'm probably reading into it, but the positivity of Ken, like the only thing that was positive about him was that he like was trying to help out around camp and be the shelter builder, and that one thing that was positive ended up getting crushed. Like that was. If I just didn't see what else positive did you?
Well, he said, "Don't underestimate the Millennials. These kids can beat us," and then they go out and beat them. I think that is showing that he's a smart guy. I really do.
That's fair. That's very true. I mean, just from as an outsider looking on at someone, their first interaction with the camp, disagreeing with someone in front of everybody, like even if he is right, there's just not something I would do, not something a winner typically does. I'm not saying that you think he's going to win. I do have him a bit lower, though, just because, again, I've had bad vibes from Ken the entire preseason. I'm kind of biased. So, I mean, that's just how I picked up on the very little I've seen of him. But I will move on. Remind me, Phil, what number?
7.
7. Okay, I got Zeke at 7 here. I'm pretty much trying to take those 6 Millennials that are not the 4 and just put them at top. So I got Zeke at 7. I have Michaela at 8 just because – I think Michaela is – I personally really like her, and I think they're setting her up for something big. I said last time I think she's going to have a really kind of a good relationship with the Gen Xers come a tribe swap. I do see that happening, and if they do lose a challenge, I don't think she will be the target.
Yeah. I have Brett at 8 and Michaela at 9. Brett, he's under the wing of Chris right now. He's in the majority over there. They have a strong 6, maybe even 7, maybe even like I don't even know. They have a lot of people that are in that alliance. So they have a CC and a who's the other one? Well, they have CC to get rid of. I think CC's
CC's not good. Yeah, CC
so I don't really have anybody else to say, but I think Brett's fine. Michaela, I think you're spot on. They didn't give us enough Michaela episode 1 to get rid of her episode 2. it's kind of how I feel about Lucy right now. I'm not going to use Lucy as my eliminator, and I still have her mad low. But like Lucy got 0 confessionals in the first episode. I think only one time has somebody gotten, or maybe 2 times has somebody gotten 0 confessionals in the first episode and gone the next week. So I really don't think Lucy goes because they try to at least give the early boots a little bit of a storyline. So Michaela, she had nothing. Like there's no way they're going to get rid of Michaela that quickly. She's in the majority too. So I like Michaela.
I agree. I got Jessica down. What am I? I'm at 9 right now, right?
Yeah.
The only reason I have Jessica this low is because if those eyes do become like that looked bad. And I know that wasn't the medevac, that was teased, but you know, I mean, last time we saw 3 people go down in one episode. I know this is a different location, but that these eyes are going to get to her. And you can tell me it's back to, I don't really know about really eye problems. We had Shamar already go. Like this has happened before. Someone's had to leave Survivor because they got something in their eye.
Shamar didn't want to be there though.
But her eyes looked like pretty darn bad. Like they were blood red. Like it was bad. So I like her spot in the game, but I'm not going to put her so high just in case we get hit. And with a cast of 20, it always feels like with a cast of 20, there's people that just kind of drop out in really weird ways just so that we can get down to the final 3 without all these double boot episodes and stuff like this. So not saying there's like a conspiracy or anything, but it wouldn't shock me if like Jessica had to go.
So who you got at 10?
10. Who's the one remain? I've done 5 of the 6 millennials, right?
You did Will, Mari, Adam, Hannah, Michaela, and Z.
Oh, Z.
Did all 6.
I've done all 6. So I'm out of my 6. Okay. Well, now this makes it certainly a bit tougher. But I am going to go with I'll go with Ken here just because I wanted to put Ken lower, but I agree with you a little bit that like he is a strong person in challenges. Why get rid of him? But I do still have bad vibes about him. I just want to stay consistent with that at least. I don't think he's going to go all that far in this game. Episode 2 would be early for Ken though.
Yeah. I'll go at 10. I got Hannah. I think she's in a really good spot. I mean, good for her for getting in and like being smart. And they had a secret scene, which I didn't watch, but supposedly it's her praying with Michelle. Like they're both, I mean, I think Michelle's actually a little bit safer than I had initially thought too. I think they're both playing the game pretty well here. And Hannah could go over to them if they can pull one more because it seems like she's actually kind of bonding with them. I don't think she's dumb enough to go and join up with a pair like Taylor and Figgy or even a trio like Taylor, Figgy, and Jay. But, I mean, she could do it because she has the option and she's really playing both sides. So I have her at 10. And then my eliminator pick is Sunday. I have Sunday at 11. The reason I'm using her as an eliminator pick, even though she's in the majority alliance, she also could be seen if the Gen Xers lose this week and they lose next week. She could go because she's just the older woman on the tribe. We see that happen a lot. They have to get rid of weaker players just because they keep on losing and they don't have a choice but to hurt their alliance a little bit to get rid of somebody, especially in a huge alliance like this. So I'll take advantage of that now. I'll use Sunday now, and hopefully she's not sitting there at the final 3.
Right. I agree with you. I think that's like Sunday is perfect pick for her. I gotta think about my eliminator. I'm not 100% sure yet. I have some ideas. Interesting you pick Sunday though. I think that is a strong pick. But coming for me next, I got Lucy, and this might be high, but like you said, I mean, no confessional. You can't send her home yet. How is that fair to Lucy? Unless she or something obscene, which I really don't think that's what we're getting from Lucy. I don't know how you can send her home with no story at all in the premiere. So
I agree. I mean, I have her at 12. I know I'm jumping you here, but I have her at 12, and I figure I'd say that now because like, how do you like they did that to Hope back in Caramoan, and like Hope didn't do anything wrong either, but like Hope was definitely there just to be eye candy. Like, no offense, Lucy, but you're not there to just be eye candy. So like they obviously saw something in her. They need to give her something. I mean, that would be ridiculous to have her go in episode 2 after episode 1 she votes in the majority and then goes home. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. It would be ridiculous.
Right. And then the next, this might be really high, but I have Jay. I'm at 12.
That was 12, yeah.
Okay. So I think when we talked about this, out of Jay, Jay and Taylor, I think Jay is getting more positive at it. I think he'll go farther in the game. And I kind of didn't want to lump these 4 millennials, cool kids, at the back of my rankings because I think Gen X is more likely to lose. So I think out of stay around, I think Taylor is the one that's kind of rubbing people the wrong way. He's really he seems to be the one that's more vocal about he wants to go bowling while they're building the shelter. Jay seems way more laid back. Seems like he kind of has a better sense of his tribe. So if one of them go, I think it will be Taylor, not Jay. So I have Jay at 12.
Yeah, I agree. I have Jay at 13. I mean, I know you're supposed to go 2 in a row, but like, I mean, I have him next.
I mean, you keep saying the people I'm going to say next. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like why not? I mean, I have Jay at 13, so it's like Jay just sitting there going, "Yo, Taylor, pairs don't go far in this game. Like, you can't do that." That just shows like he's aware. He knows what he's doing. He's out there to have a good time, but he also realizes like, "Hey, I want to win this thing." I don't think Taylor realizes like to win the game, you can't just buddy up with Figgy. It's been done once; it'll never be done again. Like, you can't do it. Jay realizes it. Jay's going to be safer because he's strong too. I mean, Jay and Taylor, I think, are both
right.
safe. I'm scared if I'm Figgy or Michelle.
Right, and we'll get down the rankings, but I think one of them. I think both of us think Figgy is in a lot of trouble. Good thing their tribe is stronger. At least that's what it seems from our end. I actually have David next, and I know he was kind of on the block, but he had a great episode overall. He had a good arc that he really turned it around. I think at the end, just so paranoid. There was so much kind of negativity coming from him. And by the end of that episode, it was really all positive. Like, it was he's changed, he's ready, he's learned so much already. It's like he's the biggest advertisement for the show, and he's only been on for 1 episode. Where once you get his loyalty, you then start trusting him even more. Like, wow, we saved him. Like, now I'm kind of responsible for him. I need to like make sure feels like he's a part of the alliance. It's someone you don't want to let slip away. Like, if you're Gen X and you think there's a tribe swap coming down the road, like, be the one to flip. Do everything you can to convince him that he's with you, and the best way to convince somebody that he's with you is for him to be with you. Yeah. I really think David's going to survive, even though he was on the block.
No, David, I have David at 14. I mean, we're just going like one at a time here. He's a vote. He's a number. Why would you get rid of him? He's a guaranteed vote. He's Cochran right now. He's terrified out there. All he wants to do is keep making it.
Have you copied me like 3 or 4 times?
Well, I have the person 1 spot behind you. I made mine beforehand. Some of us make our power rankings beforehand, okay? So I'm just reading off my list.
I'm more of a tier guy where I like, all right, here's my top tier. They're not going anywhere. Here's kind of my middle tier and then my bottom tier.
Yeah, I mean, I had them 1 spot down. You know, like, I mean, all my people have just been 1 spot down.
No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
I'm not changing my power rankings, damn it. But no, I think David. Last week, him surviving that, it's the same thing as Cochran. Like, they see something in him, they think he's loyal, and I think David's going to be more loyal than Cochran was because Cochran just got terrified at the merger. I think David's just going to be like, please, guys, don't get rid of me. That's all he's going to do. So,
okay, well, I have Sunday next. What was that, 14? Sunday at 14. Mm-hmm. I know she's in the majority, but they have a pretty big majority. So this is one of those, it's not like they need every number. And if Sunday is a liability and it's like, wait, we have all these votes, like CC is maybe on the out. Who else is like really on the outs and not really fitting in?
I guess CC and Ken, but Ken's like, they're not going to get rid of Ken.
It really didn't seem like Ken was, I mean, Ken maybe voted, he voted for who? For David? No, there's only 1 vote for David. The votes were all, I mean, there's 4 people that got votes.
Well, it was 5-3-1-1. And I think
the 5 and the 3 were together. I mean, the 5 and the 3, that was like a planned vote split.
So I think it was just CC and Rachel who voted for David and Sunday.
Right. And so if we get to a point where we have this, let's say it's just CC or even if it's CC and Ken, and you have this like 7-2, that's a point where, well, CC and Ken aren't that threatening if it's just 7-2. And if CC is doing well at challenges and well at camp, and we assume that Ken will be doing that also, and maybe Sunday's a liability, I could see, man, like, I love you, Sunday, but we can't lose a 3rd challenge in a row. And you see this happen often where if it's like a 4-5 alliance, then Sunday's fine. Like, she's in the clear. They need her vote. Like, she can screw up the whole challenge and she's sticking around. When it's 7-2, that's when it's like, yo, Sunday, you got to kind of be careful. So that's why I have her,
Wow.
kind of
You
float
really
out.
just made me question you really just made me scared for my eliminator pick using Sunday, because that all makes a lot of sense. The only one that is an easy boot is Cece, and Cece's probably one of the stronger people on the tribe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Sunday. I honestly, I think Sunday is a pretty safe eliminator pick, just because it seemed like she was well kind of integrated in that alliance. It's not like they're like, Sunday, we need your vote, come here. It seemed like she was actually getting along with the people, which at the end of the day, that is what you need to do in this game. But there is that that slight chance. Like, they don't really need her as a number at this point. It's not close.
So who do you have at 15?
15. Okay, this is when we start getting down to, the people that really, really could go. Paul is obviously in the mix here. I have Taylor at 15. It is very early to get someone like Taylor out. We see someone like Drew and San Juan del Sur make it to episode 4, and I think he was about 10, 15 times as arrogant as Taylor. Like, I think Taylor is like genuinely like a fun, good dude. I don't think he's playing a good game at all by isolating himself, but you got to think, man, it's only the second episode. It's only episode 2. Let's focus on winning. If Millennials lose a challenge, they're not going to want to lose another one. Going to Tribal, I mean, we talk about it all the time. I have no idea what it actually feels like to have to go to Tribal and be worried about going home, and actually you're having to write one of your friends' names down. Like, that has got to be brutal. You've got to want to win challenges. So I'm scared for Taylor. It's not like I'm putting him as my eliminator pick, but, he could go.
Yeah, I have Taylor at 15 too. What this reminds me of is, this almost reminds me of Micronesia, where there was so much feuding from Mikey B and Joel, that they actually decimated their tribe, because they were so against each other that it was like, hey, let's get rid of the girl. And then Joel's next move was like, well, let's get rid of Mikey B. And it didn't work. And I think this tribe is smart enough, and I think they're big enough of a fans, because these are actually like people that should be in a fans versus favorites season, unlike the fans from fans versus favorites, both of them. I think they're smart enough to be like, well, we can't get rid of Taylor yet. Because if we get rid of Taylor, it could just decimate the tribe, because now you've lost a fun guy who's also good at challenges. And you really do start to dwindle when there's those power struggles, and you just never know. I don't think he's somebody they can afford to lose yet, so I think he's okay for this week. 16, I have Michelle. Nobody hated Michelle more than me coming into the season. Michelle's growing on me, especially after hearing about that secret scene, and she seems like she's really playing the game. I think she's safer than Figgy. I actually hope she's safer than Figgy right now, because I think she's actually going to play more of a game than Figgy's going to play. Figgy seems like she's just out there. I thought she'd be more of a player than she is. It doesn't seem like she wants to play. Even if she thinks she is playing, she's doing a terrible job at it. So I have Michelle at 16, although I still think Millennials are fine. I don't think they're going to lose.
Yeah, I'm going to kill my rankings now. I just have Michelle, then Figgy, and then I'm going to go CC and Paul at the bottom. And Paul,
we have the exact same rankings at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's even if Paul doesn't get medevac, like, let's say he survives the medevac, then they lose a challenge. Well, who's the weakest map? Like, you don't want to keep the guy who almost had a heart attack around, especially if you're losing challenges. And as he said in his preseason, he loves to talk, and they already showed a little bit of the clash. Like, the first thing we got from Paul was him and Ken arguing in front of the tribe. Like, there are a lot of reasons why Paul should go. Cece's obviously on the outs, and then Michelle is in a slightly better position than Figgy, just because she's making relationships with Hannah and other people on the outside. Figgy, I don't know what the hell she's doing. It seems like she's, dreamy-eyed for Taylor, and that's never good.
Yeah. I mean, I have the same exact thing as you. I think the Millennials are fine. That's why I put 2 Gen Xers behind. And you see this all the time, and you just talked about it with Sunday. Sunday's obviously in this huge majority. This huge majority can afford to lose Paul. Paul is not the glue that's holding this all together. They can afford to get rid of somebody like Paul, especially if we've seen people, oh, I'm hurt, I'm sick, whatever, we'll keep you around, and then you lose again. It's like, all right, we got to get rid of him anyway. I mean, it happened with James. He was a part of the alliance in Heroes versus Villains, but he couldn't walk. So it was like, okay, we have to get rid of him, even though he's in our majority alliance. And then look who's the last one standing from the Heroes tribe. It's Colby, who should have went when James went. So, like, I think that Paul, if he does go down, and he is if he is like having heat exhaustion, he is showing like a lot of fatigue, they're going to get rid of him if they have to. like they're going to get rid of him because they don't necessarily need him right now.
Right. Exactly. And I actually, I enjoyed Paul on the first episode. Don't want to see him go, but it definitely does not look. It's not looking up for Paul. So
who's your eliminator pick? You always forget to do it during the power rankings. Who's your eliminator?
It's a good question. So we'll do an on the spot eliminator pick. I'm gonna go someone on the Millennial tribe who. See, this is the problem because I got out episode 2 last year, so it's like, and then in my NFL eliminator, I went out week 2. I picked the Lions to beat the Titans at home, and that didn't happen. So
I'm a Lions fan. I could have told you never do that.
You don't want to use your power players that are going to go far, but you got to make sure you make it to the next week. So at this point, I'm all about survival. I'm going to roll with Adam Klein here, just because I know he's not going week 2, and I need to make it at least to episode 3 this season.
For once in your life. Yeah, I mean, I'm going Sunday.
The first time.
No, the first time was fun.
The second chance, neither of us actually. You can't pick the same person twice. I forgot to include that stipulation to the rule. Yeah, you can't pick the same person twice. So I can't pick Adam ever again. So I'm stuck without Adam. He could end up winning the game. Could be rough.
Yeah, that could. Just a quick update on everything else. Thank you for everybody who voted MVP and LVP. David was the clear LVP. I think every single person except one voted for David to be LVP. The one person
someone voted Rachel.
Well, somebody voted Taylor. I didn't look at the Rachel one because you can't vote for the person who got voted out. They were obviously the least valuable.
I want to make that clear. Yeah.
No, it was Taylor. MVP was a tie between Mari and Zeke. So me and Will both get the points. Will's got 20 points. I got 16. Phantom Tribes got 12. And then for the boot list, I'll just do this real quick before we do comments. There were 10 people with Rachel at 20th place, and so she got 0 points. And something I'm really happy about with this season is the later entries in recent seasons have gotten the first boot right a lot, probably because they sit there and they watch the previews and they can see like, oh, that person's missing from every challenge. This season, it didn't happen. It was spread out, and that was pretty cool because it's not every time that actually happens.
Wait, did you sort by new and not like top?
I did. I sorted it by newest.
Okay. Just making sure.
I did. And actually, the most recent person to add got 17 points from Rachel. So that's bad. I have 4. Will has 10. There's a lot of people with 0, and I don't think a single person had her winning, or maybe one person had her winning.
We have
it was one person.
Smart listeners.
One person. And last thing, we'll go to the prop bet. I had tweeted this one out. First place is I Don't Know with 9 points. Let me see. They had 3 things right this episode, which was pretty damn impressive. They had David with the most confessionals. They doubled up and got 4. They had Rachel with going to Jeff without a word, and then they had Chris with gets the last vote read for the person who gets voted out. Second place is actually Tara Stacy, which is head of House Ho on Twitter. She has 7 points. She got the double up on Rachel, and then I believe she got Will with the episode title. And then there's a lot of people with 6 points because a lot of people put 3 points on David and they doubled up because that was one of our double up bets. So they got 6. Will, you have 0. Not very surprising. I have 1. This was unlike the bootless game. The most recent people who entered all put a whopping 3 points on Will Wall getting an episode title. Because Will Wall says in the preview, said in the preview, may the best generation win. So anybody who's got a TV can see the name of the episode is May the Best Generation Win. I'm okay with this because Will Wall could easily be the only person in the game who wins, or could easily be the only one in the game who gets a hashtag, or like he could be one of those. So people still have a chance with this. I'd be way more annoyed if it was something like
I'm mad at ourselves for this.
Yeah, we kind of blew that one.
I'm not mad at anyone who took advantage of the rule. That's
good for you.
Good for them. I'm mad at me. I'm mad at me right now. I'm mad at Phil. Well, not mad really. I'm mad at myself. I don't like it.
It is what it is, but Will Wall could also be somebody who gets 10 plus votes, who finds a hidden, like he could be one of those people. He could be the one who hugs Jeff.
It's like when you get something right, it doesn't mean you get something wrong, like something else wrong. So
yes,
right.
Cool. So that's it for the prop bet and the boot list. I'm not going to read off all the people who had Rachel in last. because I just don't. I'm lazy.
You
And
know
we
who
got
you are. Like if you have Rachel
yeah.
last, you know you're in first place.
You're feeling good about yourself. I'm not going to read all of the MVP and LVP votes from the last podcast, but I will read the comments. Tori Cosgrove had the best quote of the night. Jeff Taylor, why did you pick the chickens? Taylor, they lay eggs. And then Survivor Scholars came in with the Taylor about Jay. I can tell he's just a bro. I mean, those were all gold. Loved all of that.
I mean, the Taylor telling Jeff, I thought was the fun. Like they lay eggs, dude. Like Jeff was expecting such a. Oh, we want to just eat the chickens and feast. Like that's what he's expecting. And it's still, it was my favorite line.
Yeah. Let's see here. Thomas Zelenka, this was the only person who voted for Michelle to be MVP. So I just wanted to say that one. There was a Michelle vote in there, which was shocking. Let's see. I'm trying not to read all the MVPs, although I do appreciate everybody voting. It's just, for time. Gamer Girl 2330. I honestly don't get the hate for David. Sure, he's paranoid, but I don't think it's paranoia. I think he's autistic like me because he's antisocial like I am, doesn't like the outdoors like I sometimes don't. And when reacted to Brett cutting up the bamboo, covering his ears, autistic people can't stand loud noises. That's what I call them. What do you think about that theory, Will?
I don't know enough about autism to really judge. I really don't know. I mean, if someone who has autism is saying that person is acting exactly like me, like who am I to say that isn't the case?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he does.
Who knows? Next. I don't get the hate for David. There's a lot of internet hate for David right now. I read something that I thought was a great thing on Survivor Reddit when I was like trolling there. They said they like David so much more than the Jatia or the Alicia of the game because David blamed himself and Jatia and Alicia blamed everybody else. And it might have been everybody else's fault on their seasons, but it is refreshing to see somebody who puts themselves in the bad position and knows they're putting themselves in the bad position. So I kind of thought that was like a good analysis of what happened to David in that episode.
Yeah, you always respect that for sure.
Yeah. Gamer Girl 2330. I don't get the hate from the premiere. I thought it was great. I think people are mixed on it because the millennials are, as I call them, San Juan del Sur tribe, because some of them acted like people in San Juan del Sur did like it was a vacation, especially the Cool Kids Alliance 2.0. A little bit. The biggest surprise, Jessica, I thought she was going to be a dud. Biggest disappointment, Taylor, as I've said before. And then let's see here. Oh, yeah, Gamer Girl also sent us the Twitter lists of the people who were first and last in every single intro. And so far, for an original intro, nobody who's ever been the first person in the original intro has ever won. Boston Rob was the first person in the second intro after like the merge, and they redid it. Yeah. So Boston Rob was the first one then. Nobody has ever won being the first person in the first intro. So guess what?
What about being last?
Being last. Nobody has ever won from being last.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's first or last. It's
yep.
One of these seasons is gonna happen. I mean, we're at season 3. It's gonna happen one of these seasons.
Hopefully, this is the one, and Adam Klein pulls it off. Okay, let's see here. Solomon Belay, regarding your confusion over Rachel and San Juan del Sur, she applied and made it, but turned it down because her father had surgery before the game. Also, how funny was Cecilia reactions to hearing about the cyclone? The whole cyclone scenario was hilarious. They did great with that. But that's interesting to know about the whole San Juan del Sur thing. Jeff Steinberg, all the millennial men are comparable to Brendan from Token Sheens or Nick from last season. I like the Brendan comparison. That guy gets no credit or is never remembered. And then David Weemouth, with the camera shots, Jeff said on Twitter, they put GoPros out there. So that's how they got everything. They had like extended battery life. You can read that. It was like on a bunch of websites where Jeff said
part of the news
how they come up with everything. Yeah, I forgot. But it was interesting how they did all that. I will jump over to Twitter where Arson Major says having a heart attack is the most Gen X thing they can do.
Love it.
A bit of dark humor, but great. Harold Rice brings up the legacy advantage thing. Let's see here. Travis Hero D. Do you think David is getting a big character early boot edit like Max, Varner, Alicia, or Drew? Do you think David's definitely going to be like one of these like 16th placers? Or do you think David actually could turn it around and be somebody who goes very, very far?
I could see either way. I really could. I mean, part of me just wants to be like, yeah, you got a big premiere episode. It's likely he's just going to be a big character, gets voted out early. But sometimes these big characters, they have like that flash really early on, and they kind of settle down, and they make it really, really far in this game. I would like to see David go far. It's going to take another episode. If he's over the top again in episode 2, then we can kind of start thinking like that. But if he comes back down to earth and gets like 2 or 3 confessionals like an average player, then who knows? He could be in it for the long haul.
And we all know episode 2, people go from 9 to 1 or 9 to 0. Like it happens all the time, every season.
Episode 2 is, I think, a better indicator than the premiere. I mean, the premiere, they have to introduce everybody, and then they have to, tell you the story of the vote in the premiere. Well, the second episode is just telling you the story, what happened. So there's no intros needed.
There's going to be about 6 or 7 people who don't get confessionals this week.
I think, yeah, 5 or 6, I would say.
Yeah. Mel, before episode 1, I thought Ken was going to be bossy and rub people the wrong way, but now I think he could go far. Hey, that's kind of what I said. Ken's like wishy-washy with me right now, but he's a little more positive than the initial premiere recap, I think.
Okay.
Mel again. Also, I'm really disappointed in Figgy so far in the preview for next week. Doesn't give me a lot of hope she'll turn it around. Yeah, Figgy's in trouble. Figgy could be the most disappointing player on this season if she goes next week, because I think I had her getting second place.
Yeah, I mean, there's part of me that wants to say, okay, Figgy wants to, play the flirt card and kind of get into guys' heads and get them to trust you and all that stuff, which I think can be very valuable. We've seen it work. But I don't think she has a reason for it. I don't think she needs to play it yet. I think if she had built relationships with everybody, I think she would have been in a really good spot instead of focusing all on Taylor. Taylor likes you, Figgy. Like, Taylor's already starry-eyed. You don't need to play into that. I think, I don't know. If I was a hot girl, I'd be way better at it than Figgy, I think I'd lure the guys in, but then keep them, be a little mysterious. Talk to everybody. Be friends with everybody. String Taylor on.
Michelle.
Yeah, don't
good Michelle, not this Michelle.
Right, they're already, honestly, they're already a couple, and we haven't even seen the second episode, and we think that Taylor and Figgy are actually going to have a showmance. Like, that is just too early.
Hey man, that's when Rob and Amber. That's when it happened for them. It happened right off the bat. So we'll see. Morgan, Sanford and Levin, have you guys been watching Australian Survivor? I have not seen an episode. Did you actually watch one?
I did not, and I've said this already. Like, I used to go on Survivor Reddit all the time. I also don't have as much time as I used to, but I really and nothing against Survivor Reddit, because I spent a lot of time there and I really enjoy it there. But it is all Australian Survivor. I'm sure a lot of people listening to us found us through Reddit. That's where we got a lot of people, to sign up for the buff contest and stuff like that. I don't know what happened to that. Have you been there, Phil?
I was there last week. There's no news about this. It was big that night, and then it went right back to Australia.
I feel like it's all Australian Survivor, and it's not like I have a hatred towards Australian Survivor. It's just why isn't there an Australian Survivor subreddit? And I think there is. I just don't think it's used. So if anyone has some insight on what's going on our Survivor, I do. Again, I think that's the place to go. When I'm really honing down in the off season, obsessing over things. During the season, though, I found that it's I don't know. I don't use it as much during the season as I do in the off season.
Yeah. Which
might sound
yeah, I used it a lot this week, but I hadn't looked at it at all during the off season. I did use it a lot this week, but there was a lot of Australian Survivor. It was hard to get good Survivor information. Just a lot of David hate. Mel, I think Mari is in it for the long haul. She seems like a smart player and is in the majority alliance for now. Yeah, I hope Mari's in it for the long haul, or she could be totally getting screwed by a swap. That she's getting one of those 2 edits for sure.
Yeah, I like Mari. She had, I think, the best winner quote ever if she ends up winning. I'm going to win this game.
Yeah. And Curtis, do you think Medical will check out Jessica's eye, or will that be a secret scene like they did with Jenny last season? I bet Medical already looked at her eye. Probably right after the tribal, probably. Maybe even before the tribal. I don't think Jeff knew it, but there could have been something. Honestly, I think she has pink eye. You're not going to die from pink eye. So I think that's what it is. I think it's actually pink eye.
I don't know. I think it was. I don't know. It didn't look pink. It looked too red for pink. Pink eye's pink. Like it actually, and I know a lot of.
I think she was calling it pink eye on Twitter, though.
Oh well then there you go. Should have said
cheating.
that. I mean, it looked way more red than pink. Like I've seen pink eye. It's usually just like a very light shade of red. Pink. I don't know. I mean, Jessica knows best, so it's her eyes.
Yeah. And Curtis, I've heard Rachel was voted out because of something she did at the place they were evacuated to, kind of like Ryan Aiken. I don't know what happened with Ryan Aiken. I also heard that Rachel got voted out just because people didn't really like her. I don't know what she would have done at the place they got evacuated to. And Ryan Aiken, they weren't evacuated on his season.
Well, yeah, no one's been evacuated, but maybe she means just some type of production type thing.
Was Ryan Aiken taken out of the game because of something like that?
I don't remember, but I'm just saying for whatever she's talking about. I'm sure. I mean, she's not specifically saying evacuation, so it's just something.
No, I know. I'm just saying I never heard that about him. I mean, he's
maybe something
anybody doesn't know. He's the first boot from Amazon. So,
yeah, I really don't have any information on it.
Me either. Let's see here. So Giovanni Oriana says, I think Jay has Fabio upside and Taylor has Benry upside. Nobody wants Benry upside. Man, I don't even know how to predict the Fabio edit, even if it's happening right in front of me, just because I still can't get through Nicaragua a second time because I really don't like that season.
Come on.
But I hate that season. I've tried 3 times to get through it a second time, and I could not do it. I've made it to the Marty boot every time, and that's it. I can't get further.
I think you just got to crush on Marty, and it just crushes your.
No, it's a boring. I think it's a boring season. If we ever do a season rankings again, Nicaragua just keeps going down for me.
I'm a huge Fabio fan, so I definitely like that season probably more than most fans do. I think Fabio played really one of the more interesting wins out of all the winners. Really interesting game. I think he did it really well.
Yeah. Let's see. Giovanni Oriana. Did you know that CBS spoiled the winners of the next immunity challenge? I did not, but I'm glad I don't. He doesn't tell us who it is, thankfully. Thank you for not telling us.
Thank you so much for not.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Yeah, let me edit my power rankings just real quickly here.
Real quick. And Giovanni Oriana is with a bunch of Did You Knows, and it all does relate to this season. So did you know that Chris is from the same town as Scout from Vanuatu? I mean, that happens a lot on this show. There's like 15 people from Bangor, Maine at this point. I mean, everybody's just from there. The answer to your next question is infinity. And then did you know, and this is funny, did you know that Hannah took Max's Survivor class? I found this out from my mother. I don't know why my mom found that out, but Hannah took Max's Survivor class, and that's probably why she got onto the show.
Wait, she went to Northwestern also?
I guess. I didn't know that. But
that means she knows Alexis, probably, who was on Cagayan, who went to Northwestern. I think they're similar age. I mean, one's probably older, but I mean.
It's a shame Max was such a dud, huh? He's putting people on the show who are like pretty like huge fans of the show, but he was a dud.
Absolutely.
And I will say that with a lot of
sorry,
I'm not saying sorry. Yeah, Giovanni Oriana, do you think Max is a better Survivor teacher or player? I've never seen him teach it, but he's definitely not that good at it.
I don't know. I don't want to give him any credit for teaching it.
Well, this is one of the more fun, depressing, and by fun facts, I mean this is an awful fact. This is when Phil and Will turns dark. But Giovanni Oriana, in the French version of Survivor, a player died of a heart attack, and the doctor that tried to help him committed suicide. I'm telling you, Giovanni Oriana is just full of little facts here, and like that one is like as dark as it's going to get on this show.
My answers to all of these, did you know? No.
Yeah,
I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah, me either. Travis Hero D, do you think Triforce Alliance will last into a swap?
There's a chance. If they swap at 18, if they go to 3 tribes at 18, all they have to do is win one more challenge. It wouldn't be that crazy.
Mm-hmm. If the Millennials lose, is there any way the Triforce makes it into a swap?
Absolutely, there is.
Because Michelle goes.
Michelle could go if she's playing both sides. I mean, we really we've only been shown a very small portion of the Millennial tribe, and it looks like Triforce is pissing everyone off, but maybe they aren't. Maybe only Hannah's noticing that. Maybe only Mari is noticing that. Are we saying Mari? How do you
It is
say?
Mari.
Okay,
it is Mari.
okay, because I keep reading comments like you guys are pronouncing it wrong.
You
It's
guys
like,
suck. We hate you.
am I like? Please tell me I'm pronouncing this right.
I think you're saying it right.
Okay, well, I'm
what
gonna
do I know?
keep an ear out for that one in episode 2, just to confirm.
Yeah. Giovanni Rihanna, do you think Chris will use Jeremy's strategy of having bigger targets around after the merge? I honestly, based on who he aligned with off the bat, no.
Yeah, keep Sunday around.
He's in an alliance with Sunday, Lucy, and like David. So no. Let's see here. Still rolling. Giovanni asked if we're watching the secret scenes. I'm not. Are you? I just know they exist.
Okay, so I usually do watch secret scenes, but this time they uploaded like get to know such and such, like get to know Adam, and the video was 7 minutes long. And
that's where Brett saying he was gay was.
Yeah, so they have like this extended version of every single player. And honestly, we probably should watch all of those, but when I do secret scenes, it's usually at work, and usually they're 2 to 3 minutes long, and there's maybe 2 or 3 of them. And I can like just watch them in 10 minutes when I like take a break. But if I had sat down and watched like 20 get to know videos that are each 5 to 7 minutes long, like it's going to take me like 2 hours. So it's not something I can just knock out. So I hope to get to them eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like I said, I know some of them, but I haven't really watched them. Let's see. Giovanni again. Who do you think is the strongest guy and girl on each tribe? That's good because I have no idea on the Millennials right now. I would say Chris definitely on the Gen X in terms of like brute force. And then girl, we didn't really get to see any of them. Probably Cece.
I think Cece is the strongest. That's what I would say. I mean, physically, socially, I don't think she is. Yeah. I don't think aligning with racial
clearly
the best move. But yeah.
And then on the other side, probably, God, they're all so scrawny. All those millennial boys are so scrawny.
I think Jay or Taylor is probably
Taylor.
I think it is probably is Taylor, and then that's why he will end up sticking around. I think, and then Mari maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't really get to see.
Figgy seems to, and she did well at the puzzle. I mean, I don't know. What do they mean by strongest? It's such a like you can be strong.
Probably in terms of strength. That's
just,
what I'm thinking.
Just strength.
Like brute force.
Brute force. Michaela, maybe? I think
probably.
She was like,
it's either Michaela or Mari, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's tough. We'll have to see more of them. And then the last, did you know, from Giovanni Rana. Did you know that Adam was going to be on San Juan del Sur with his mom? Glad he was still able to get on the show eventually. There's a lot of people who were supposed to be on San Juan del Sur that got cut last second. Maybe San Juan del Sur could have been the greatest cast ever had all of these people who were supposed to be on it, who made future seasons, been on it instead of the crap that some of it was.
Where are these reports coming from? Like, San Juan del Sur could not have had this many backups. Like, you have, I think, 3 or 4 backups. Not, I know.
No, well, you have to think about it.
Well, it's blood versus water.
But no, listen. So was supposed to be on it, so that would have put them at 20. So and her sister would have put it at 20. A backup is Adam and his mother, and then the other backup was Rachel and her father, or Rachel and whoever it was. It's only 2 pairs of backups.
Weren't RC and like her dad supposed to be on it?
That was only for Blood vs. Water. San Juan del Sur was an all newbie season.
Oh, right. True. Trying to think. Okay. We'll have to confirm that with Adam because I think I don't want to call out Adam here, but like someone looked at his Reddit account and he posted like I'm going to be on the show, and he predicted that he was going to be on the show for like I think it was a year and a half or 2 years before this season. And I wonder if that was like, oh, well, he knows he's going to be on it because he was, about to be on San Juan del Sur, which was a good move by him anyway. I don't want to like blow up his spot. But if I do, blow up his spot, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Adam will own up to it. He seems like a great guy. Yeah.
Um, let's see. Harold Rice. He's wondering where the sport talk and dating tips are. So he's asking who our female and male crushes are on the season so far.
I don't have a female crush yet.
I thought it was going to be Figgy, and she let me down, man.
Male crush is, I guess it's just Chris at this point. Like Chris is just he seems great.
Did you not see the images of Ken? Like, were you not watching the same show as everybody else in America?
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't really. I get when I get a man crush, it's usually not based on physical appearance. It's more about just coolness. So how cool is that dude? Chris is a cool dude.
You couldn't say Taylor or Jay then? Come on, dude. That's like everything you always wanted to be.
They're not as cool as Chris. Not even close.
Let's see here. Hey, I'm Toby. Do you think Adam and Jessica will have a super duper Phil and Will alliance? Wouldn't that be great?
That wouldn't surprise me, right? Like,
I mean, it seems like maybe they bonded somewhat if like Jessica just all of a sudden knows that Phil and Will exist.
I mean that's the question. Did they find out about us independently of each other, or did Adam say, "Hey, like, I got a buff from these guys a while ago. Like, check them out."
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I think I'm leaning more towards that Adam probably said something, or I don't know, or even he tweeted it. He tweeted us before she did, so maybe she saw that. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Giovanni Oriana, are you guys following Edgic? I'm not, but after last season, I might decide to see it. Edgic and Phil were the only two things that got Michelle right last season. I don't follow Edgic at all. I don't really care. But I'm proud to know that Edgic had Michelle winning last season, and so did Phil. So yeah.
Well, that you can't really say Edgic had Michelle winning. Edgic is there's no one governing Edgic board. Like Edgic is there are Edgic charts that are put over all over that are created by some are just individual people doing their own Edgic charts.
But the big Edgic charts had Michelle winning, like the ones that are on Sucks and that are on Survivor Reddit, like the ones that are by the administrators.
I don't know. I saw quite a few that had Aubrey. I mean, I knew Michelle was in it, and that it wasn't like a surprise to people who follow Edgic. But I don't know. I think we talk about the edit enough that we might not have a chart every week, but we discuss it enough. I think we actively do participate in the Edgic discussion, even if we're not creating charts. So I would say I do follow it, even though I may not look at the chart week to week, but there's not one chart you even go ahead and look at either. So, and often I will see these charts and I will wildly disagree. They'll have someone they'll have someone at middle of the road 4, and it's like, I really disagree with you. I think they were CP or something. I don't know.
That's why we're pretty right with our predictions going into finales. A lot of these other things, they weren't right. Maybe we are the Edgic masters. We just don't know how to make a good chart.
I don't think anyone's an Edgic master.
No, we are.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to put that to the test somehow. I think we talk about the edit enough that we can be considered followers of Edgic. We don't need to make charts every week to say, hey, I can see that it's overall it's based on positivity and negativity, at least the way I look at it. If you are getting positive stuff that doesn't need to be included in the show, that's a high indicator that you will, win. And Michelle last season, lots of indications of positivity when she really wasn't even a part of the story. So that stuff really, that's what you have to look for. You want to break it down?
Yeah. Harold Rice, since Halloween is coming up, who would be a good Joker from this season? I would say Zeke. I would say Zeke as well. I feel like Zeke is the obvious choice. He's dressed in really bright colors, and he's got cool hair and a mustache that's very ironic.
I can't believe Halloween is already coming up. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, Phil needs a costume, so if anybody wants to help me out, Phil's got nothing. Phil sucks at Halloween.
I might be Phil for Halloween.
There you go, and I'll be Will. That wouldn't be weird. All right, we got 3 more comments. They don't really have anything to do with this season, but since we only have 3 more, I'll just read them off real quick. They're all from Larry Miller. Phil, you say Rupert was the best male hero on season 20, but Tom was the best. He was trying to unite his team, and he wouldn't have let JT give away his idol like an idiot. Is that too mean? No, it's not too mean. I guess I said Rupert was the best hero on that season. Tom never really got a chance because everybody came in knowing each other, and Tom didn't really know anybody. Yeah, they voted off Tom while James was standing there with a torn ACL because they thought Tom was stronger, or that James was still stronger than Tom. That hero's tribe was not the brightest bulbs. Yeah. And then the last one from Larry Miller, there's a show called Steven Universe that has a lesbian couple, but they never actually say it, and it's a kid show. Great. Yeah, those are fake characters though. Like I'm talking like when real people are like on shows, they normally get on the show because like they're like some sort of stereotype or like there's some sort, they fit some sort of like character that needs to be fit into the show. And normally the gay guy is one of them. And it was cool to me that here's this Boston police sergeant that you would just never know. And normally Survivor's putting on people who are like a little more obvious, or they make it part of the storyline. It doesn't seem like it's going to be part of Brett's storyline at all, which is unique for this show.
I mean, we have only seen one episode, so it could be. But for them not to like include that as his intro, like this is who I am, like I honestly think that's like a step in the right direction. I not that people shouldn't be proud of who they are and stuff, but like I'd rather hear about what you do day to day, what you're thinking about the game, what you're thinking about other people, just normal stuff. Like, and
have it come up naturally as opposed to like them forcing it down our throats. Like, hey, by the way, did we mention this yet this week? Like we have to get at least like one mention of Colton saying that he was like, you know, you don't need to do it every week. Like,
yeah. And it's not like people who are straight open up. Well, I'm a straight blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we don't like, no, how are you going to play Survivor? How are you getting along with other people? You can look for the idol, you know, don't look for the idol.
If it plays into the role like perfectly, like how like Figgy and Taylor are having a showmance right now, like if somehow Brett can have a showmance with another guy, that would be fantastic. Like that works for me, you know, like let it play out that way. So
yeah. Yeah, that was the last comment. Well, getting into some interesting topics here. Glad I think we covered everything, right? So LVP, MVP is covered, eliminator, bootless, prop bet, power rankings.
Wow.
I think we covered it. Sometimes we do forget things, but yeah, that's about it. Phil, do you have anything else? What do we gotta say? You gotta like the video, you gotta subscribe, you gotta share it on Twitter and all. You gotta do all those social media.
Find us. Find us on Twitter too. You know,
follow us on Twitter. That at the end every time.
We always forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will see you Wednesday night after episode 2.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys later.
Did it end?